The next day felt unusually long for Raheel. Every tick of the classroom clock echoed louder than usual, every whisper in the hallway made him turn his head. Sleep from the previous night had barely touched him. The stranger's words kept replaying in his mind, his death wasn't an accident. Someone is watching you. By the time the sun began to set, Raheel felt like he'd lived 3 days in one. He checked the note again. Tomorrow evening, old railway station. Come alone. The old railway station. A place no one really went anymore. It was shut down years ago when the new station opened on the other side of town. Now it was mostly a hangout spot for skaters, stray dogs, and the occasional wanderer who liked the abandoned vibe. Raheel took a deep breath and grabbed his phone. This time he didn't tell his mum he was going out, he didn't want her worried. He just slipped on his jacket, walked out the door, and headed toward the station. The station came into view, the evening sky was turning dark purple, birds flying across the horizon like scattered shadows. The station stood tall and abandoned, covered in graffiti, rust, and memories long forgotten. Old signs creaked in the wind. Shattered glass lay near the broken ticket counter. The silence was so deep, you could hear the hum of the power lines overhead. Raheel's footsteps echoed loudly as he walked across the empty platform. He checked his phone, 6:59 p.m. Just as he slipped the phone back into his pocket, he heard a faint click. Like someone had stepped on a loose piece of metal. Raheel spun around. No one. He took a few steps forward. Another sound. This time clearer. From inside the abandoned waiting room. The room's door was half open, swinging slightly with the wind. Raheel hesitated, but he pushed it open. Hello, he called out. No answer. Instead, a low voice came from behind him. You came. Raheel turned around sharply. The masked figure stood near the doorway, wearing the same black mask, same dark clothes, except this time, they held no envelope. Just a small torch switched off in their hand. Raheel's pulse raced. I want answers. You said my father's death wasn't an accident. How do you know that? The masked person took a step closer. Their voice changed lower, tighter, as if carrying the weight of a story long hidden. Your father was part of something he shouldn't have been involved in. Raheel frowned. Part of what? The figure sighed. A group. A group that handled sensitive things. Information. Secrets. It went wrong. And your father, he tried to leave. Raheel's eyes widened. Leave what exactly? Instead of answering, the figure turned on the torch and pointed it at something on the wall. Raheel followed the light. On the cracked wall was a faded photo, stuck there with old tape. It was the same picture Raheel had found in the envelope, but not scratched out. All 3 faces were visible. Raheel stepped closer. His father, and the 2 people beside him. One was a middle-aged man with stern eyes. The second was a woman, maybe in her 30s, with short hair and a sharp stare. Under the picture, faintly written, Project S09. Raheel whispered, Who are they? The masked figure lowered the torch. They were his partners. The man Daniel Cross. The woman Alina Ward. Your father trusted them. But one of them betrayed him. Raheel felt cold all over. Betrayed, as in, caused his death. The figure nodded slowly. He discovered something he wasn't meant to find. And someone decided to silence him. Raheel felt the ground shift again. His father had never seemed like someone who'd be part of a secret project. He worked in a simple office job, or at least that's what Raheel had always believed. But why me? Raheel asked. Why are you telling me all this now? The masked figure took a deep breath. Because they know you're looking. Raheel blinked. I'm looking. The figure stepped even closer, only a meter away now. From the moment you touched that first envelope, they've been watching you. And if you start digging into the truth. Raheel's throat tightened. What happens? The masked person's voice dropped to a whisper, they'll come after you too. Just then, a loud metallic crash sounded from outside the waiting room. The masked figure jerked their head toward the sound. Someone's here, they hissed. Raheel's breathing quickened. The figure grabbed his arm. We need to go. Now. Who is it who's following us? Raheel whispered urgently. The masked person didn't answer. Instead, they pulled Raheel toward the back exit of the station. But before they could reach the door, a bright flashlight beam shot across the room. A harsh voice shouted, "Stop right there!" Raheel froze. The masked figure squeezed his arm one last time. Run, they said. Then, they pushed Raheel through the back door and turned to face the approaching figure. Raheel stumbled outside into the cold night air, heart hammering in his chest. He heard shouting. Then a scuffle. Then silence. Terrifying, heavy silence. Raheel hid behind a rusted train carriage, breathing hard. After a few moments, he whispered to himself, "What's happening? Who's after me, and who was that masked person?" As he peeked around the carriage, he saw something on the ground. Something small, black, and familiar. The mask. The stranger's mask. But the stranger was nowhere to be seen. Only the mask remained. And a single bullet shell lying beside it.